Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Arrow episode 2 video. We got to meet Lonnie Machin, Anarchy. I'll explain, they changed him from the comics just a little bit, so I'll explain as we move through this. So let's get going. Real quick reminder too, I'm doing a reverse flash ring giveaway again this week. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So let's get going. Number 5, meet Mr. Terrific. So the introduction here is that Felicity is now officially CEO of Palmer Tech, but they're bleeding money. She has to fire a bunch of people, and Curtis Holt here, Mr. Terrific, comes up with a plan. But because Felicity is Felicity, she doesn't want to have to fire all these people. So they say that they're going to come up with this genius technology to save the company. I feel like it's pretty reasonable that we're all in agreement that it has something to do with the T-spheres. Like the solution, the tech solution that's going to save the company will have something to do with Mr. Terrific's technology. They said that it's not due for a while, so don't expect those to be a thing for a couple more episodes. But the really fun IRL Easter egg here is that as Emily Bett is like calling people into the office to fire them, this person here is actually her real life best friend. I think it's her roommate too. So she is firing her own real life roommate. It's just funny that Emily Bett gets to fire her best friend. Like, hey, why don't you come be on my show? I'll fire you. That was actually kind of a theme this episode. It's like a tale of two firings, people that take it vastly different. Like Felicity's person that she fires here takes it pretty well. However, Anarchy, on the other side of things, doesn't take it too well when he gets fired by Damien Darhk and Hive. Step into my office, you're fired. So on to number 4, meet Arrow's version of Anarchy, Lonnie Machin. There have been at least 4 different versions of Anarchy in the comics, so what Arrow's doing is using the name of the very first Anarchy, Lonnie Machin, and kind of doing their own thing with the character. The 2 most recent versions of the character debuted during the New 52. There were actually 2 separate versions of Anarchy. One was an African American, just like a normal person, and the other was a corrupt politician. So obviously Arrow is just kind of doing its own thing. I have seen a lot of people complain about Mr. Terrific and Anarchy in the comics, just like them being really great characters that have kind of been mishandled. So usually what Arrow does is they'll take big characters from the comics that they feel haven't really been done justice, and they'll do their own version. Malcolm Merlyn is the best example of that. Relatively important character in the comics, but just hasn't really gotten an awesome comic book run yet. So I'm totally cool with Arrow doing its own version of Mr. Terrific and Anarchy. Now Anarchy's storyline, as you can see, is something of an origin. Like this episode just puts him on the comic book path to wearing a mask. They did say before the season started that part of the fun of the character is that Thea as well as Damien Darhk are going to be partially responsible for who he becomes. So even though he was already kind of speechifying his Anarchy philosophy in this episode, he is going to fully take the Anarchy persona by the end of the season. They were kind of subtle about it, but you can kind of see this parallel between Thea's character just going nuts, going off the deep end, and Anarchy doing the same thing. So I'll have to watch those 2 characters' arcs to see how they mirror each other during the season. Usually when you look at like a member of Team Arrow, for any given storyline or arc that they have, there is someone else or a villain character that also has a similar type of arc, which actually kind of leads nicely into my number 3, vote Queen for mayor. So right out of the comic books, Oliver Queen going to be running for mayor. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win the mayorship, but he's definitely going to be running for it. So his mayoral arc this season is going to be mirrored by Danforth's character, both heroic characters that will have their own ideas about how to fix Star City. Now I know there's probably some questions about Danforth's motives, like we don't know a lot about her yet. We just know that she is an old family friend. We don't know if she has ties to Damien Darhk or any of the Hive elements in the city. But don't be surprised if she has like some twists and turns in her character. If she's known Moira for a long time, then she probably also knows Merlyn. Maybe she was part of the undertaking a long time ago. We'll find out. Jerry Ryan, going to be a ton of fun this season. I'm so happy that she's on the show. She's going to assimilate all of your hearts. It's going to be so much fun. And actually, speaking of assimilation, just to make more Star Trek references, Oliver assimilates in the flashbacks with Baron Blitzkrieg. So this character here is Baron Blitzkrieg from the comics. What they're doing is they're just using the name. He's not going to be anything like the character from the comics. He's just going to be the big villain of the flashbacks. So this season long, he's going to be the most evil person on the island. And it looks like Oliver's drank the Kool-Aid. They flat out killed the flashback wig, which I feel was an awesome move. The wig was just one of the weirdest things about the flashbacks. Stephen Amell used to make the joke that it's actually a Jared Padalecki wig, just because they're friends in real life, and Jared has like that really long hair. I think I mentioned it in my Q&A video, but amongst other things, mysticism is going to be a big theme of the flashbacks. So in episode 1, where Oliver's like, I've seen some things, man, it's mysticism, he's talking about his time on the island, these flashbacks this season. So what's happening on the island is going to give them some insight into the mysticism of Damien Darhk and his powers. But of course, on my #1 WTF moment, Thea and Laurel go on a field trip to Nanda Parbat with a quick stop by Sarah's grave. Give me all of your dead person diet jokes. You need to get some more sun, Katie Lotz. You look like a corpse. So if it wasn't clear from a lot of the interaction between Thea, Laurel, and Oliver, Laurel had no idea what happened with the Lazarus Pit. She doesn't know how it works. She doesn't even know it exists. So of course she gets the idea in her head that, hey, maybe we can do something with Sarah. Maybe we can save her using this mystery hot tub that Thea keeps talking about. And behind the scenes, the production, that's actually what they call it. They call it their hot tub set. But now we get to go see Merlin and Nyssa. We get to find out about how Nyssa's going to be fighting Merlin for control of the League. That storyline, I don't know how big that storyline is going to be this season, because I think that John Barrowman is still a series regular, but Nyssa is not, so they might not be around quite as much as they were last season. Either way, we already know that Sarah's going to be resurrected, but it's going to require the help of Constantine and Oliver. That episode's not going to happen for a couple more weeks, so the next couple weeks will just be explaining the mechanics of the Lazarus Pit, why it won't work beyond a certain point. For those of you that are asking too, the longest time period that the Lazarus Pit is still effective for, the longest you can be dead, is a year. That's the furthest out they've ever done it in the comics, and the longer you've been dead, the more serious the consequences, the longer you go insane. So if you've been dead a year and you get resurrected, you will go apeshit. So let me know in the comments though, what was your favorite part about this episode? Was it seeing Anarchy get his origin story? Is it seeing Sarah's dead body? I'm actually really happy that they didn't make her look super beautiful. She's been in the ground for more than a year. Of course she's gonna look really desiccated. For those of you that are asking too, the reason her grave says 2007 is because that's what her grave originally said. They first thought that she died when the boat crashed, then she came back, she was still alive. They never changed the grave. There was never a body that was buried originally. It was always an empty casket. So when she actually died last season, they just put her body in the casket that was already in the ground. I think the only other Easter eggs that I haven't mentioned are the dig at the Green Arrow name. Like Cisco on The Flash last week said, I hate it when they put a color in the name. Quentin also kind of made fun of them putting green in the name. And then Oliver brought the Fern back. So the Fern lives on into season 4. So if you're a big Elicity shipper or you just liked all the Fern jokes from season 3, it has continued on into season 4. Who knows how long it'll survive? Probably as long as the show goes on. Actually, I think the only other weird thing that I wanted to add of note was Damien Darhk's policy on kidnapping, where he told Anarchy, you've crossed the line. It seems a little strange that a villain so big would get so crazy over something like that. So you guys can let me know, do you think this throws any gasoline on the fire that is the theory that Damien Darhk is Felicity's father? Even if that's not true, maybe Damien Darhk has a daughter out there somewhere in the world that he's fathered, that he also feels very protective of, regardless of his own villainous philosophy. Oh, and actually really cool, if you guys didn't hear in my Flash video, Damien Darhk will cross over to The Flash Season 2, just like the heroes will cross over. I don't know which episode it's going to be, if it's going to be the Flaro episode or something else, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So what's going to happen next is I still have a Walking Dead Q&A, but I'm going to do a Flash Arrow Q&A for this, where I'll name the Reverse Flash Ring giveaway winner. Hopefully that'll be out tomorrow, at least by Friday. So while you guys wait for that, you can click here for my Flash Episode 2 video from last night, and you can click here to catch up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from last night too. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.